And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up, and lift up your heads, for your redemption draw nigh. And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree, and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of Elohim is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away, till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
Anyone else feel extremely drained? Like, no matter how much sleep I get, like, I just feel tired. I feel drained. I could sleep for 8 hours and I still feel drained. I don't know what is going on anymore, but something really doesn't feel right. And I know I can't be the only one out there to feel like this. Something weird is definitely going on anymore. You just feel just unmotivated at times. I really can't explain it. It's just a strange feeling. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? Because again, I know I can't be the only one out there to feel like this. There's something weird going on. There is something very, very strange happening.
In case you didn't know, this identifies the spiritual symptoms of a world being disconnected from its old power source. It's being drained, and this draining is a sign that Yahuwah is withdrawing his very life force from the systems of the Gentiles. The Most High is allowing the comforts and fatness of the Gentile world to dry up so that the people realize their physical bread cannot sustain them anymore. The horsemen in Revelation 6 are not random. They are the execution of the judgment promised in Genesis 15 and 14. It reads, And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. So if the Most High is going to judge the other nations for the evil that they've done to the Israelites, how will this judgment come about? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse found in Revelation 6, 1-8 are symbolic mechanisms of divine government rather than literal horses. From a spiritual perspective, they represent a progression of spiritual and societal decay, often linked to the 4 sore judgments. The horsemen represent the 10 plagues, but scaled up to a global level to break the power of these modern oppressors. The white, red, black, and pale horses are the spiritual response to a world system that has reached its peak of rebellion and cruelty.
You ever just sit there and think, like, why the hell do I feel like this all the time? Like, nothing's fun anymore. Like, you're really not even here. You're just kind of going through it. Like, your body's moving, but your mind's somewhere else completely. And deep down, you know something's off. Like, you just can't explain it. Like, we weren't built to live like this. You wake up in a box. You drive in a box. Some of you even work in a box. And then you come home and you scroll until you pass out every day on repeat like it's normal. You barely go outside unless it's work. You barely talk to anybody. You feel tired before the day even starts. And when you do feel something, like your mind slipping or your chest getting tight, they hit you with a label and hand you a prescription and act like that's supposed to fix it. But what if that feeling in your gut isn't a problem? What if it's a warning? What if you're not shutting down? What if you're finally starting to notice how off everything really is? Because this isn't just burnout. This isn't just exhaustion. And it isn't just depression. It's disconnection. And way more people now feel it more than ever that they're going to admit. They just don't know how to say it out loud yet. But you're not crazy for feeling it. You're just one of the few finally honest enough to notice.
A lot of people feel like this because there's a shift taking place. The 400 years in Genesis 15 and 13 is ending. And that transition, as the 400 years end, the first thing that starts to break is this global narrative. The white horse represents the Gentile system of control, religious, political, and media going out to conquer the minds of the people one last time. But the white horse is currently failing because the Israelites are waking up. This white horse represents the conquering, the desperate attempt of the nations to keep the seed of Israel in a mental grave as the clock runs out. The red horse, civil discord and internal collapse. This is the judgment of the nations. The Most High is turning the nations against themselves. Look at the division in the world right now. It's the sword being given to the people to kill one another. Just as Egypt fell into chaos and internal strife before the Exodus, the red horse is the spiritual force causing the other nations to cannibalize their own peace because they no longer have the blessing of the Israelites serving them in peace. The black horse, economic collapse and the scale of injustice. A measure of wheat for a penny. This is the final reckoning. The nations that got rich off the affliction of the Israelites are now seeing their currencies and resources drying up. And while the world faces hyperinflation, the oil and the wine, the spiritually anointed, are told not to be hurt. This is the Most High bankrupting the other nations, so the great substance can eventually be transferred back to his people. The pale horse, the final harvest of the systems. Scripture says his name was death, and hell followed with him. This is the judgment on the other nations. This horseman uses all four sword judgments, sword, hunger, death, and beasts, to finalize the judgment of the Gentile world. You can think of this as being equivalent to the 10th plague. It represents the total systemic failure of the nations that refuse to let the people go spiritually. The pale color is the color of a dying empire. Essentially, the four horsemen of the apocalypse are in fact the eviction notice for the Gentile powers. The white horse, they lose their lies. Red horse, they lose the order. Black horse, they lose the money. Pale horse, they lose their power. You see, many of you in the Gentile nations had no idea that the affliction had a timestamp. The 400 years, roughly 1619 to 2019 and the present time, served as a holding period. The four horsemen are the law enforcement officers of the universe. They have arrived because the lease the other nations had on the Israelites has expired. I think that most people can agree, since the 400-year mark, the world hasn't been the same. COVID, global unrest, and economic shaking are the hoofbeats getting louder as the Most High begins the judgment of the nations. The other nations are losing their grip on the narrative. The truth of who the Israelites are is leaking out, and the white horse of deception is riding hard to try to rebel or cancel the truth. Civil unrest is the judgment. Matthew 12 and 25 says, "A house divided cannot stand." The nations that oppress the Israelites are now fighting each other. This is the Most High removing peace, so they cannot unite against his people anymore. The global economy is being weighed and found to be inadequate, deficient, and failing. Inflation is the tool to bankrupt the oppressors. This is a strategic setup for us to come out with great substance, as per Genesis 15 and 14. The systemic rot. The pale color of this horse is that of a dying plant. The healthcare, political, and social systems of the other nations are pale. They have no life left in them. Let's read this verse. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. In ancient Egypt, the 10th plague targeted the firstborn, which was the pride and future of Egypt's strength. It specifically defeated Pharaoh, who was worshipped as a god. The pale horse, this rider is named Death, and he has authority over the fourth part of the earth,